Theater Espresso is a Jamaica Plain-based educational theater organization that stages thought-provoking social justice-themed dramas in schools and courts. Over the past 20 years, more than 225,000 Massachusetts students have participated in their interactive performances. To celebrate its 20th season and launch its next play, Secret Soldiers, Women Who Fought in the Civil War, Theater Espresso will hold an anniversary celebration next Monday starting at 5:30 at Wheelock Family Theater. Joining me now from the company is Wendy Lement. Nice to meet you.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, well, what a great organization you guys have. I think maybe regular theaters don't know about you, but you're well known in the schools and courts, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you're right in that we're very different. Most theaters you come to and sell tickets to, and we tour to schools, to courthouses. We have a residency at the John Adams Courthouse in Boston for Boston Public Schools, and that's a grant-funded program supported by Mass Humanities and the Mass Cultural Council and other foundations. We also have a residency up in Lawrence at the Lawrence Heritage State Park Visitor Center for our play about the Bread and Roses strike and children's involvement in the strike.
All right, so that's an example of the kind of thing you do, but from what I understand is the actors have to do some improvisation and you really try to show different sides of an issue. You just don't hammer home on maybe one politically correct angle of how to look at a problem, but that you put the viewers in a situation and open a dialogue with them?
Yeah, I think a good example of that is a play that we have called The Trial of Anthony Burns. Anthony Burns was a fugitive slave that was caught in Massachusetts and put on trial and sent back into slavery. And rather than having we always have the students in a decision-making role. In that play, they're state legislators looking at whether or not to impeach the judge who sent Anthony Burns back into slavery. So rather than saying, you know, should we send Anthony Burns back, which is sort of a no-brainer. No, you don't do that.
But he was following the law.
Exactly.
And I think your new one, which is about women soldiers in the Civil War, nowadays, you know, you might have people saying, oh, finally the patriarchy is going to stop suppressing women. But I think a lot of people realize that once women are in combat situations, they're likely to be drafted like men. And I think that, in fact, that's what I saw the Supreme Court thing. So is it a good thing that women are getting in combat, or is that what women want, to be subject to the draft as well? So, you know, that's... Tell us a little bit about the Civil War one, though. That was a little bit thought-provoking. Women disguise themselves as men to fight?
The U.S. military has recorded, depending on what source you read, somewhere between 250 to 400 women that were discovered that, you know, they can absolutely say. But there were many, many more women that they didn't, that we know about, and then probably thousands who did this that we don't know about. So the numbers are really staggering, and they were fighting on the front lines in all of the battles that you learn about when you study the Civil War. In the play that we have two women represented that were both at Bull Run, one fighting for the Confederacy and one fighting
and these are historically based?
Yes. And so those are women that we absolutely know. The main character we know about because her great nephew found letters in his aunt's attic that she wrote home, documenting basically letters just home. And I was really, really drawn in by them because they're the only letters of that type where she's just talking about everyday life as a soldier.
But she's having to conceal her identity as a woman.
Yes, and when she gets sick, she doesn't have a choice. They bring her to a military hospital. Her identity must have been discovered because she was so sick she could not have taken care of herself. She was in the hospital for a month.
Right. So she had her clothes off at some point.
Yes, and so they decided not to reveal her true identity, and that's the question that we're posing to the students. Does it do more harm than good to expose her on the one end? If they conceal who she really is, if she does get better, she could join her regiment, which she would want to do. She could fight for a pension, and her name wouldn't be smeared across the press. On the other hand, there was a movement to say, you know, women are out there, you know, and this really reflects things that are happening today. They're already out there, they're on the front lines, and are they going to be written out of history? And indeed they were for many years, and it's just now that the story, I mean, most people that I speak to had no idea. They know of Deborah Sampson fighting in the Revolution, but they've been written out of history.
So in short, this is something that, you know, is really going to surprise you. All right, so let's just review. On Monday, this 20th anniversary celebration is at Wheelock Theater and starts at 5:30. It starts at, what is it, 5:30 to 7:30?
Yes, there's a VIP reception with Judge Nancy Gertner, who is retired federal judge, and then at 5:30 it's open to the public. Our website, if you go on our website,
so
you can
why don't
get
you give
tickets.
us the website and we can. It's theater with an R-E and then Espresso. Do kids get the pun in that name, you know, or do they think it's just named after a coffee? Do they get the idea that it's expressing yourself?
There's so many. We get the question all the time. Why? Because we talk to the students both in character and then afterwards out of character about what really happened in history, and it's a great timing. Theater Espresso is now in residence at Wheelock Family Theater, so this is our first major event combining the efforts of both theaters in improving the lives of young people.
All right, we'll have to keep closer track. Thanks so much, Wendy.
Thank you.
That's it for this edition of Neighborhood Network News. Chris Lovett and the rest of the gang will be back here on Monday night. We hope you'll join us then.